Hey, what's going on guys, Mixuba here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a Boros aggro deck for standard best of one. Now it's been a minute since I've actually played some Boros aggro. The last time was when what was popular was you basically would run mono white and splash red for Showdown of the Skalds, and this build is a lot more pure Boros, and I've seen it floating around online and it's been putting up some decent numbers. And what makes this list different is it runs ARNI Broken Brow. So this is a 3 mana 3/3 haste with boast 1 mana. You may change Arni's base power to 1 plus the greatest power among other creatures you control. So basically this thing becomes bigger than your biggest creature, and that can become really handy when you have a lot of effects that are increasing the power of your creatures. Like Rimrock Knight will buff a creature's power, Fervent Champion buffs all other knights' power, so like Rimrock Knight or technically Faceless Haven. You're putting counters on all your stuff with Showdown. You're increasing stats with Embercleave. And another thing to note that's really important is you may change its base power, right? So basically, let's say this thing has a couple +1/+1 counters on it. Well, if it's not the biggest thing, then let's say you have like 2 counters on it and you have 2 counters on a Bone Crusher Giant. So it'll turn its base power to 1 plus the greatest power. It doesn't say greatest base power there. So it'll turn its base power to 6+1, so 7 plus the 2 +1/+1 counters, making it like a 9/9. At least I'm pretty certain that's how that works. The way this is phrased is a little bit complicated, but we're going to be testing it out today. In any case, I find the concept of ARNI in a cheap, aggressive Boros shell really cool. The rest of the deck is pretty standard. We have 1 giant killer to maybe kill a thing. If not, 1 mana tap a creature is pretty good, decent body. Usher the Fallen, great aggressive card. Fervent Champion, amazing aggressive card, pairs really well with itself and Rimrock Knight. 2/2 split between Robber and Hollowblade. The original lists typically run more Hollowblades, but I think that's more of a best of 3 thing, because in best of 1 you can be really aggressive with the Robbers, but I still do see the value in playing the Hollowblades. I just couldn't decide which one I wanted more, so I settled on a 2/2 split. If you want to be just more aggro haste closer to mono red, then Robber. If you want to be more defensive, Hollowblade. I have landed somewhere in the middle. Aspirant, this card's really good. Another way to put counters on your creatures and basically do the whole ARNI thing I was talking about, where you change its base power, but it has counters on it, so it still gets bigger, that kind of thing. Weird interactions, you have to be careful when you play it, but yeah. But Aspirant, absolute house. Your opponent pretty much has to respect it and deal with it as soon as it ETBs. If not, they're in a world of trouble. Redain punishes all the snow decks. Lots of snow aggro in best of 1 right now. Also punishes any go over the top decks like Ultimatum. It taxes their expensive spells. So again, if they don't have like Heartless Act or Eliminate, they're in a lot of trouble when it comes to Redain. So I'm running 3 copies. And the legendary rule, while it does apply, can also kind of be circumvented. We have the Protector Shield, which if you saw in another video, really was annoying in my Golgari Elves video, so go check that out. But yeah, so we have the DFCs, which make the legendary cards much more playable in multiples. Bone Crusher Giant, just a really solid creature. Removal spell into a really big body for a 3 mana card, so awesome. Showdown, only 2. A lot of the builds are running 4, which I get because it's best of 3. In best of 1, I find myself only wanting these in mid-range to late-game matchups, and I don't find that's enough for the field. In aggro mirrors, you probably just want to be attacking back, and card advantage isn't exactly going to be at the forefront of your mind in this type of deck. So it's a good catch-up mechanic. It's a good way to stay in the game, but I don't think we need 4 copies, at least for best of 1. Something we do need 4 copies of is the Embercleave. Just amazing finisher, way to close the game on turn 4, and you guys know the Cleave, just crazy card. Mana base, we are a snow mana base, which could get interesting because Cleave is double red, Showdown is the Boros types, so mana can get a bit awkward, but aside from Cleave on 4, nothing requires 2 pips. It just can make double spelling in certain turns a little bit weird, but it should be okay, because the Haven itself is such a powerful card. I think it justifies being played. The rest of the mana base, no tap lands, except for potentially Fabled Passage, but it fixes our mana. If you're worried about it, you can just run more snow-covered lands. If you want, you can run like Castle Ardenvale or Castle Embereth. I just think that we want to have the least amount of non-snow lands, and Needleverge Pathway is pretty much the best one. It's our untapped red or white in 1 card, and then just the snow lands to finish off the mana base. So that's it for the list, guys. Hopefully you didn't get too confused by my ARNI explanation. If you like the deck, be sure to drop a like on the video. It will be in the description down below as always, and consider subscribing. It motivates me to make more content. So that's going to be it for me, guys. Let's get into some games. Okay, double Fervent Champion. We have double tap land, but we can fetch red, fetch white, and still have 2 Fervent Champions. Into Hollow Blade on 3. I think it's fine. We immediately get punished for the Boros, though, and the double tap land. Alright. Triome. Could be cycling, but there's no companion. And the non-Lurrus versions of cycling have been going around. I still do think it's worth getting 1 Fervent Champion down and getting this out of the way. Oh boy, I don't know why my thing's so laggy today. Hopefully that should smooth itself out. I think we actually grab another red source, so we can go... Oh, we can have double red for cleave. I'm really not sure. And it is cycling. Okay, very good. So I can get white, but I think double red is more important than double white, and we drew the plains. So we're going to fetch this again. And there's a robber. I still think we just go for the champion. And then play the Hollow Blade. But if they have a... What's it called? The one that makes tokens. I never remember what the names of the cards are called in cycling. Then we are going to be in trouble. Valiant Rescuer, is that it? Could be. You guys know what I'm saying. Hollow Blade is worse against that because they can just kind of trade the 3/1 body for a card in hand. But I'd trade the Hollow Blade for a Stinger. ARNI doesn't increase its base power right now. It just comes in as a 3/3 haste, which might be good enough. There's the Fox. Can make it a 2/2 minimally. We'll see if they hit their land. Oh, and they miss it. That's really good for us. It means we can still attack with all. And, alright, so we hit the land drop. Do we showdown? I don't think so. I think that's sort of like a next turn play. Tap like this to bluff Rimrock Knight. Go for the boy ARNI. We attack with all. Alright. So... You may change ARNI's base power to 1 plus the greatest power among other creatures you control. Alright, so this, I think, if I understand correctly, it'll become a 4/4. If opponent double blocks, we're okay with that. Because greatest power among other creatures we control +1, so that means it'll become a 3. Well, it'll gain 3 and then +1. First will be the Fox, yep. So let's just make sure I understand this correctly. Take action. Yeah, alright, perfect. Card's weird to me. I don't know. It's not phrased very user-friendly. And I'm fine trading one of the champions for a Flourishing Fox that they can get disgustingly huge. It's going to be at least a 4/4 next turn, and we don't have Embercleave. Happy to discard a Robber to the Hollow Blade if they blocked, because the next turn we just showdown. And that's much better. Alright, opponent cycles again. If they're just going to miss their land, then we're in a really good spot. Yep. I wonder how many lands they play. This typically happens when I play against cycling on the ladder. They have a lot of trouble hitting their land, like a surprising amount. But yeah, we show off the crazy gain 1 point of power in ARNI. I guess that's another good reason to run the Hollow Blade. It can make your ARNI a 4/3. So, you know, you can play with these numbers, like I said in the intro. Okay, on the draw, no 1-drop, but we have Aspirant into some 3-drops. Also, Faceless Haven is a good one. And because we're on the draw, we could potentially draw one of our 9 1-drops. Let's go. And just the Bone Crusher Giant. Okay. Which is pretty good against Mono Red. Pretty happy to have it. Against Momo, I wonder if that's a My Hero reference. Respect to any of you that know that. And let's see what they play. Just cast the Rimrock Knight. Alright, and your turn late, buddy. We will pretend we're mono red and hold open Stomp in the meantime. This is probably just going to be a white source. We'll see what the opponent goes for. Phoenix of Ash. Alright, it can... I guess it doesn't really matter. We'll see if they attack with everything. We will stomp the Rimrock Knight, take less damage. This is all fine. So Redain, make their land come in tapped. They're a snow aggro deck. We can really slow them down with this. And now the question becomes, do we want the shield? The shield is really annoying to play against when you have a cheap aggro deck. Like, it puts in work against mono red. Also, we just fully, out of nowhere, slam a white source, which I find so funny. Frostbite. Good answer. Fair enough. Alright, take some damage again. I wonder if you have another. Alright, another Rimrock Knight. We can go for... I kind of like using this side of Giant Killer, but I also kind of want to play mana efficiently. Let's fetch white. Regardless of what we do, we want double white. Especially because our hand is very white. Ooh, that's weird. Normally Fabled Passage splits the cards by color. So we can play Bone Crusher Giant. I think we just get this down. And we can play out our Giant Killer. The tap might come in handy, and I like being mana efficient. Plus next turn we can play Bone Crusher Giant plus Aspirant. Or ARNI plus Aspirant, but I think we're on the defensive based on how our hand has shaped up, and play draw, of course. And they still, and this, well, by playing Redain, they can't cleave us. It taxes the Embercleave, and it taxes any land they might play. And I'm happy to make some blocks. We'll see what they do. One of the reasons to hold the Giant Killer is potentially wait for them to pump the Phoenix, and then once they do, we chop down. But a lot has to line up for that to happen. Alright, and they attack like that. Let's block here. I don't want to fall for a Phoenix pump. And now they would need a Bone Crusher Giant to take out my Redain or another Frostbite. Or they can pump with Rimrock Knight. Okay, they have that. We still trade for a decent chunk of their board. Although this flyer might start freaking clunking us, which could be an issue. And there's a cleave. So, do we start getting aggressive? We know we're going to play this out. And if we play Bone Crusher Giant this turn, if we draw Mountain the turn afterwards, we can ARNI plus Cleave. Okay. I'm going to put the counter here so we can block the Rimrock Knight profitably. Plus the opponent wants to kill the Aspirant, and 4 toughness is really hard for mono red to deal with. 3 toughness now is much less of an issue because of cards like Frostbite. And they did have the Stomp, so maybe blocking with the Redain was loose. But I like that they're doing this all pre-combat. Alright, I guess if you're going to attack the Phoenix, doesn't matter that much anyways. Okay. So this costs 3 mana to pump. We have to be careful. We are getting awfully low. ARNI can attack. Let's say attack with both. No, they're not nearly dead. I mean, we have a good combo with the Rimrock Knight, though. It is tough. 3/3 blocks pretty well, but it also is a haste creature. Jeez. I don't like it. I don't like this one bit. We're going to play out ARNI. The question is, are we going to attack with him? We can block here, go to 1, and then we're dead to like any pump spell. I think we have to make the attack. So am I going to play a Rimrock Knight, or am I just going to try to push in more damage? I can go for transformation plus a Rimrock Knight pump. I don't want to target my Bone Crusher Giant with the Rimrock Knight ever. Alright, I think we're just aggressive, and we accept the fact that we're dead to a burn spell. So, yeah, this is what I'm talking about, where ARNI can become freaking huge, like, bang for 8. Like, that's a really decent use of mana. And if we're not dead here, then we can probably kill our opponent with the cleave. Okay, attack with 3. Do you have Ember Cleave? If they do, they do, and we would have lost regardless. Yep. No surprise there. Well, play draw baby makes a huge difference in these games. Okay, yeah, hand is good. We have 2 knights into a potential showdown where it will matter in the Yorion matchup. Land isn't good. I know I'm complaining about my mana issues, and by that I mean I either draw like a million lands or 2 lands, and there's been absolutely no in between today. I played like 10 games with this deck. I'm this close to cutting the Fabled Passages. Alright, I'm going to be greedy, and I'm going to go for the Knight. The Hollow Blade, sorry, because next turn we can potentially go for both sides of the Rimrock Knight. Also, Faceless Haven in its best matchup, very, very good. This is a difficult threat to remove. It might bait the opponent into attacking the Fervent Champ, or to, not attacking, into shooting down the Fervent Champion. The main phase Crack the Passage. Impatient Sultai player. We might see a Wolfalo Haven here. They're touching their lines. Nope. Cleave, nice. I think I want to get this off Summoning Sickness, but I need double red, so... Okay. We attack. Let's go to first strike damage. Let's go. Alright. Everything actually gets through. I'm amazed. We'll play into Extinction Event. It's okay. These decks typically don't run too many Extinction Events. They typically run 1 and then 4 Shadow's Verdicts. And the opponent had to crack Passage on 3, so they might not even have their 4th land for the Extinction Event. All reasons to play out the Rimrock Knight. Once you play enough Sultai, you start knowing the play patterns, you start knowing the decks or the different variations, and believe me, I played way too much Sultai this week. Let's go, lad. And they're passing. Good sign. Let's get this off Summoning Sickness. And we'll attack. Uh-huh. That procs, which is really good. And we can cleave. And we're going to shoot up the Hollow Blade because we have land to discard. Is the opponent just dead? My god, opponent's just dead if they can't remove this anything right here. Alright, well, we curved out beautifully. On the draw, no less. Yeah, we hit way more lands in the Sultai deck, and we run way less, so you know what? This is pretty much Dream Aggro curve. Well, not exactly Dream Aggro curve, but really solid aggro curve. And even if they could deal with our Hollow Blades and stuff, or Rimrock Knight, Fervent Champion, you guys get what I'm saying? We have Showdown backup. Just 4 mana draw 4 on the back burner. Okay, so I made some cuts. I cut the Fabled Passages because the tapped mana was getting absolutely ridiculous. Fabled Passage typically is really good, but it was just not doing it for me at all. I was hitting it on turn 1 like so often because I don't know why, but the auto shuffler in Best of 1 just loves feeding you Fabled Passages. So anyways, we've just added 2 more snow-covered mountains and 2 more snow-covered plains. And it appears we are against mono red with no 1-drop on the draw, so you guys know plenty about our position based off just those comments. Although we do have Redain, and Redain is pretty nice. Ooh, Greedy Mage. Another 1-drop? No. Alright, this is definitely a Greed Lord. Opponent wants to maximize the mono red value. Let's go. Miss your land so I can go Redain and tax any future land. Alright, I guess I'm just an optimist. They should attack. Yep. No blocks. Very good. Let's get this online. Go for the Redain. Make Redain chunky enough to survive Frostbite. And block the Rimrock Knight. And let's attack. Alright. We have secured defensive Boros stance. Next turn I literally might go for this shield, reducing all of their damage by 1. Or we can just Embercleave them. And oh, opponent's looking at their tap Faceless Haven. That's right. Enjoy the Redain. They're not crazy pressuring my life total either, so I'm not that incentivized to block. And they still have 1 mana. They went straight to combat. Alright, nothing. Let's get this on red. Can go for Fervent Champion, attack with 3. My god, attack with 3. Or, so I can go Fervent Champion, give it a counter, and attack with all, or I can just give this a counter and attack with 2 and cleave. If I give this a counter, they actually can't trade it for the charger, but they can trade this for a robber, which I think I'd be okay with, but then they can also trade this with a counter for a robber and a charger. But you know what? I think what am I even saying? We don't have triple red. Alright, so we just attack like this. Make this a 3-3. And let's get in there. I think cleave is better than the shield. No blocks. Very good. Oh, you like that? Vigilance. Vigilance, trample, double strike, flying. Keyword soup right here. So we have an offensive and defensive Embercleave with more tapped snow mana. Torbrand. What you take? This makes it deal 5 damage. I have first strike. Let's just eat the robber. Right? Yeah. Yep, first strike bait. What am I doing? They're just dead on the way back. Why am I overthinking this? Silly me. I'm not even gonna play anything. Yep. Just got clean air lethal with the Redain. Sorry guys, I'm used to going all big brain, think about every single play I make. And when you have an Embercleave on a Redain, you are probably in a good spot. So don't need to think too much about that. Easy lethal on the way back. Alright, let's go. Nice 1, 2, 3. We have good mana. I'm feeling it. Good spirits. I'm cutting the games that we just get abysmally mana screwed, because it's literally no fun to watch me sit there for 3-4 turns being like, do we draw a third land? Oh, we don't draw a third land. We can't cast half our hand. And then eventually it's, oh, do we draw a third land? Nope, we can't cast anything in our hand. So, I mean, while I sit through that, I'm showing you guys the games where the deck actually can cast its spells. And while I understand that it's important to show those games as well, I think it's better for me to just warn you, like, the mana is bad. It's workable, but it's bad. So just fair warning, keep that in mind for if ever you want to play the deck. Opponent misses their land drop. I just want to be super aggressive. We're going to slam a 4-3 and force them to respect it. We could have attacked with the robber. That would have been fine. Let's go. Opponent's having mana issues too. Alright. I mean, today's been a crazy day. It's been an awkward magic day. We're just gonna keep these in the video because this, I literally did this on one game. On the play, hand is workable. We're feeling good again. We're gonna play the giant killer on one because despite the fact that it can take out a Yorion, I want to apply pressure, and I want to apply early pressure. We'll see what they lead on. Are we facing Sultai? Or are we facing blue-white? We're probably facing Sultai. Alright, Temple. I think we hide our red for now. Do we get punished? I mean, if we draw a Rimrock Knight, I guess a little, but we still want to play the Redain. Let's pretend to be mono-white. And more aggressive. Damage matters. And if they have a Heartless Act, it's fine. I mean, I always have trouble with that decision on where I want to place my counter. Could see a Heartless Act. Eliminate. Alright, so it doesn't end up mattering and we end up being rewarded. Okay. I think we just go for the Redain here. This can come in and clean up later on. Hasty creatures can be really important, especially after a board wipe. Redain can tax any more expensive play, so they pretty much need to deal with it on this turn. Or not exactly this turn, but with a 2-mana removal spell. Because while Cultivate will help you, it will not get you out of the woods. Alright, they're hitting their stuff. And Rimrock Knight, so that's going to pair really well with ARNI. But I think we just cleave. Like, it's very difficult to turn down an Embercleave. Especially when the opponent can't wipe the board because of Redain tax. So right now we have mono-white Embercleave. We'll see if we draw the untapped land to get some crazy ARNI damage. And nope, just clean aggro curve and best of one, taxing the opponent with Redain proves to be enough. ARNI, I wish you could shine, man, but against Sultai, Redain's the actual GOAT. Alright guys, and we are back. So the deck is good, and the deck can win, and it can definitely get you up the ladder, and it can probably get you to Mythic. But I want to issue a fair warning. The mana is bad. I don't know how many times you've heard it throughout the video, but it is tough. And I don't think Faceless Haven was the issue. I just think it's the fact that we don't have aggressive enough monocolored lands, and believe me, I tried the Fabled Passages. You draw them on turns 1, 2, and 3 all the time. It's just not good enough. I really like the 2-2 split between Robber and Hollowblade. Hollowblade wearing an Embercleave is really good. It means spot removal can't exactly punish your cleave very well. Robber is good for stealing permanents, or not permanents, but like, you know what I mean, stealing spells and getting in hasty damage. ARNI, I love the concept. I think it's a very cool card. I don't think it's very good though. I think it's better to run Boros aggro without it, but I do see its power, and 1 or 2 might be good enough, but I don't think I'd bump it up higher. Redain, actual GOAT. Card put in crazy work. All in all, like, the build is a lot of fun, and it's very powerful, but the one thing holding it back is the mana base. So, that's going to be it for me, guys. Again, deck list will be in the description down below, as always, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.